So the purpose of this talk is really to answer the question of why Leap Now. You might get on our website, hear about our programs and think, oh, you know, it's just another study abroad program. There was a wonderful European mountaineer named Walter Bonatti who said, we don't climb the mountain in order to get to the top of the mountain, we climb the mountain to improve the human being. So Leap Now uses travel and experiential education as a great way for a young person to discover themselves. But the intent of all of Leap Now's programs is to really help the human being blossom into their full potential. As a culture, we do a really poor job of helping young people blossom. What we've done is we put them, for 12 years, we put them in a classroom setting, which is a contrived learning environment. Our schools were created around the time of the Civil War, and they were created at a time when young people were very experience rich, but information poor. And now the situation is just the opposite. We have an incredible amount of information available to us, but we're really lacking experience. And we're lacking experience because we're asked to sit in these classrooms for 12 years. And we're just with people our own age. We're age segregated. And what happens is people, a succession of adults come in and they tell us what's important for us to learn. So they're systematically disempowering us as learners. The message we get subliminally, very directly, is that who you are and what you're about is less important. What's really important is we're going to put a funnel into your head and we're going to pour the important stuff in there. And then at the end of 12 years, we're going to give you a stamp of approval. And then if you're normal, you'll go right on and do another 4 years in a similar educational environment. Now, our educational system does a really good job of that. But if this is the wholeness of a human being, our educational system only deals with a very small portion of who we are as human beings. It basically focuses on us from the neck up, and it focuses on the left side of our head, on our cognitive or our mental side. It leaves out our cultural awareness. It doesn't focus on our ability to foster relationships. It doesn't do a good job with our emotions. We've systematically taken sources of wisdom out of the classroom. You can't mention the word God in a classroom. Ooh. We can't talk about soul. We can't talk about things that really matter. And we've taken elders and we've put them on their own reservations. And what happens is by the time a young person reaches 18, they have taken their wholeness, which might have looked like this, and they've systematically reduced it to a very small part of their spectrum. You know, if they love what they're doing in the classroom, the bell rings, they have to move on to the next classroom. If they don't like what they're doing, they got to sit there. So what we see we're primarily working with people between 17 and 25, is that they are in an educational trance. They have forgotten that education comes from inside, and they think it's something that someone out there, an authority, does to them. So all of our programs are designed not simply to take you to faraway places, but also to foster a journey inwards, so that you can be getting out into the world, doing something real, and rediscovering the organic learner inside you, finding your own motivation, which, I think comes hand in hand with our life purpose. But it's very difficult to hear or feel your life purpose if you're asked to spend most of your days. You notice with our educational system that during the years when we're most inquisitive and physically active, we're asked to sit on our butts and stay inside a pretty uninteresting environment. And that has a real cost to young people. And then when they go to college, we ask them to choose a major. Now, and we send them sometimes to colleges that are costing now $50,000 a year. So we're making this huge investment in the next stage of learning. But how are you supposed to choose a major? What basis do you have to choose a major? How can you make an informed decision to become a doctor as a sophomore in college if you haven't had any life experience other than maybe working on the yearbook or student government in high school or your sports teams? So we feel that it makes a tremendous amount of sense to radically change the educational environment, and at this age, 17, 18, 19, 20, begin to introduce the concept of choice. Because for the rest of our lives, we are going to be making choices about our own education. We are going to be our own best teacher for the rest of our lives. So it's time to recapture that human capability that we never should have lost. The other thing that's happening is that around age 17, if you look at brain research, around the time we're first born, there's a real peak. We come in and we're learning very actively, and then that drops over time. And then around 17, the next highest peak of brainwave activity for your entire life happens. Why is this? Something important is happening. And I feel that it has a great deal to do with your life purpose. Your body has stopped growing. It's time to move out into the world on your own. And what you need to be armed with is your life purpose. I believe that everybody comes into this world with a purpose. And it's really important that they get in touch with that purpose before they invest $200,000 in their own education. So all of our programs foster this movement radically out into the world, and then also help students to move inside, because it's that relationship between inside and outside that is going to make a huge difference in someone's navigation of their own life path.